Why don't people hand quilt as much as they used to? And I'm not talking about people with hand issues like strength issues, grip issues, or anything like that. I'm just talking about in general. It doesn't seem to be as prevalent anymore. And I know sewing machines are amazing and long arms are amazing, but I still feel like it's such an important part of quilting, and it really helps you slow down and really enjoy the whole process of quilting. So I've really been wondering lately why more people don't hand quilt. I recently started to try and hand quilt more, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm not very good at it at all. I'm still learning, and I'm going to keep practicing and learn, but it's just something I've thought about a lot more lately. So for this quilt, I actually did some straight line machine sewing first, just a 1/4 inch away from the seams around all the blocks. And you can see here how the quilting just really highlights the block. I really love simple straight line quilting in this manner because I really think it helps bring the block to life that was made. And I'm adding some hand quilting in, one because there's too much space between these blocks. So I'm going to add some hand quilting in to help make sure this quilt can last a long time. The quilting is just too far apart with just the straight line quilting. But I also feel like it really adds a lot of beautiful texture to the quilt when you add in some hand quilting. It has such a different look than the machine sewing. First, let me show you here how some of the blocks turned out that I've already done. It's just a simple square that I'm putting here on point inside of the block. So not only does it add some more texture to the quilt because the stitches look so different, but it's also in a different orientation than the other quilting. So it's really going to look beautiful when this all comes together. At least I think it will. So I'm just taking a 6.5 inch square and I'm centering it in this middle of the block. And the lines here are helping me do that, but you could do it with any ruler or just trace it out however you want. So I'm just putting it on point in here and getting it lined up. And then I'm just taking a sliver of soap to mark where I'm going to stitch. This was a great tip given to me in a video. It was actually my overconsumption video. That is a really recent video. Somebody said that to mark their quilts, they just use a sliver of soap because it'll easily wash out. And I've had so much trouble using different quilting markers that are designed for quilters that are supposed to wash away, not wash away when I use them. So it works great. It's harder to see in the lighter areas. You might not be able to see it on camera, but I'm able to see it. I've been using just a hair marker lately to just put a crease, and that works pretty well too. But this shows up really nice, especially on the darker fabrics. So I just mark it out and then I just have been hand quilting through it, and it's been a lot of fun. And my hands smell good after. The soap smells nice. I've honestly been reflecting a lot lately on my quilting journey. Art in general for me has always been a way for me to relax and unwind. I've tried so many different forms of art, painting, even stained glass, knitting. I really have dabbled in everything. And over the last few years, I've really settled on quilting being one of the main ways that I express myself through art. But lately, I just haven't found that same comfort with it. Like, I still enjoy it, but I haven't found that same relaxation that I used to find. It's always been a pressure to make quilts faster, do things faster. And really, I just enjoyed the aspect of slowly piecing something together and being, very intentional with what I was making. And I found that it was less becoming about that and how many quilts I could make and how much I could do and how much I could accomplish. And it got very, very stressful and would just give me anxiety thinking about what all I needed to get done and what all I had to finish. Everything is just so sped up now, and not just in the quilting world. Everything is just fast. There's, you know, short videos, 30-second clips, 10-second clips, and you just mindlessly flip through it. Just everything right now is fast. I love to read, and even in the book world, the influencers and content creators that talk about books, they'll do yearly recaps where they share all the books they've read in a year, and it's hundreds of them, and I'm just like, how do you keep up? Like, all the books sound so good, but how do you have time to keep up and read all that? I mean, I don't. I'm glad some people do, but I always wonder, like, are you really enjoying all those books? Are you really getting to sit and enjoy all those books when you're reading hundreds? And it's even hit food. There's fast food and microwavable meals, and you can get food delivered right to your door now at any time of the day. And there's 30-minute meals and 20-minute meals, and you get food fast. And oh my goodness, it makes me think of one of my favorite movies is Kate and Leopold. I love that movie. And there's a scene in that movie. Well, if you don't know about the movie, it probably wouldn't make sense, but it's kind of like a time travel movie, and it's current time, and then a man from the, I think it's the late 1800s, travels to current time, and there's a scene where they're sitting at dinner. The man says where he comes from, the meal is the result of reflection and study. And then he goes on to say that it is said that without the culinary arts, the crudeness of reality would be unbearable. I just really love that scene in that movie. I enjoy it so much. It makes me laugh every time, because it's honestly so true that we don't sit back and enjoy things as much as we should sometimes. And I also think too that, for me especially, maybe it's not food, but it definitely is art and creating, that I use it as a way to, kind of shut out the crudeness in the world. Like, it's a place where I want to go to relax and enjoy things. And at my own doing, I've made it something that can often cause me to not enjoy it, because I buy too much, or I try to work too fast and get more things done so I can use other things that I've purchased. So I definitely do it to myself, but I also want to be more mindful now so that I can enjoy this art as much as I used to. I did talk about a lot of this recently too in a recent video I put up about overconsumption, and I'm definitely making the steps to make changes and slow down this whole process with quilting so that I can enjoy it more. Now, to answer the question that I asked at the beginning of this video, why don't people hand quilt as much anymore? I really do think it is because everything is so sped up. We feel like we need to finish things faster. If hand quilting just isn't for you, I completely get that. But I would encourage you to think about something that you kind of rush through in the whole quilting process, even if it's just sewing the pieces for your block together. I encourage you to think about it a little more, maybe slow down and just try and enjoy the process more and see how you feel about it. I actually did that with this quilt. This quilt took me a lot longer than it normally does to piece. And then even the straight line quilting, I turned the speed on my machine down and went a lot slower than I normally do. And it was just so much more relaxing to work on than it normally was. I actually usually watch something while I piece and have something going on in the background, but I just turned some music on and just really sat there and worked through everything a lot more slowly than I normally do, and I enjoyed it so much more. And I'm having so much fun sewing these hand stitched squares onto here too. This quilt's going to probably take me in total closer to a month to finish after I get all these hand sewn squares or hand quilted squares finished and then getting the binding on. And usually a quilt like this would probably only take me a week because I would, you know, really push myself to sew faster and rush through everything. So I'm really, really enjoying slowing down and just enjoying the whole process a lot more. I actually don't sit here and hand quilt either. Normally, if I'm hand quilting something, I will sit on the couch or a cozy chair and pull this up in my lap and hand quilt. So it's a lot more comfortable and relaxing too, which is also interesting because I've noticed how tense I get quilting on my sewing machine. It's a lot of weight from the quilt, a lot to kind of maneuver through and hold up. And hand quilting is definitely harder on the actual hand than machine quilting, but it is a lot more kind to my shoulders, for sure, for sure. I definitely noticed the difference there. Let me know in the comments what you think about hand quilting. Is it something you've tried? Did you try it and it's an absolute no for you, no matter what? I'd love to hear from you on that aspect. I'll also link in the description of the video to the clip I'm talking about from Kate and Leopold, just so you can see it, because I think it's absolutely a fun movie. It's a really cute movie. If you enjoy that kind of like romantic little story, if you haven't seen the movie, you'd probably like it. Now, if you made this quilt pattern using my tutorial for my last video and hand quilting in here is an absolute no for you, you could do the quilting along the border of the block and still use your machine to quilt in here if you would like to, or you could just add some more quilting lines throughout the quilt. And then of course, remember in that tutorial video, I also showed this sample quilt, and there's some different quilting on here. So there's a lot of different things you could do to finish up your quilt if you made these quilt blocks and made a quilt out of them. And here's how the quilting on that looks on the back, just so you can see a little better what the design was. Just simple straight line quilting, and it turns out beautiful on this quilt. I'll put a full photo up on the screen of this quilt that I'm working on here, just so you can see it and see a little bit better the design, layout, and how the quilting is turning out, of course. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.